George Mikan bulldozes the fledgling NBA, averaging 23.8 points while leading Minneapolis to 5 championships in the 6 seasons between 1949 and 1954. Because the 6'10" center parks in the lane, officials widen it to 12 feet in 1951, yet the Lakers still post a 44-24 record. The real disruptor arrives in 1954, when owners install a 24-second shot clock, boosting possessions from 60 to nearly 80 and prying the ball from Mikan's deliberate post-ups. His fractured leg and slower release drop him to 18.1 points in 1955. He privately calls the sped-up tempo pinball basketball, and he retires at 30 in 1956. Attendance plummets below 3,500 a night after their star exits, so majority owner Bob Short scouts new markets and settles on booming Los Angeles. The team relocates for the 1960-61 season, arrives with the 2,550 record, and survives only thanks to rookie draw Elgin Baylor's 24.9 points. Even with Baylor and, soon, Jerry West, the post-Mikan era never approaches the Dynasty's 0.783 winning percentage, topping out at 3rd place until the late 60s. The 24-second clock now entrenched drives league scoring to 93.1 points per game and clears the runway for Bill Russell's 1957 Celtics, our next dynasty in waiting. From 1957 to 1969, the Boston Celtics win 11 championships in 13 seasons, still the most dominant title run in league history. Their success is built on defensive suffocation and fast break efficiency, anchored by Bill Russell, a 6'10" center who averages over 22 rebounds per game across his career. In 1966, when Red Auerbach retires from coaching, Russell takes over as the NBA's first black head coach and immediately wins 2 more titles. By the spring of 1969, the Celtics finished just 4th in the East, but still beat Wilt Chamberlain's Lakers in a 7-game finals. Russell retires days later at age 35, with 5 MVPs and a 21-0 record in college and NBA winner-take-all games. The collapse comes instantly. In 1970, without Russell or swingman Sam Jones, Boston plummets to 34, wins its worst record since 1950. They finish 5th in the division and miss the playoffs entirely, a first since 1951. John Havlicek leads the team in scoring, but their defense slips from top 5 to bottom 3rd in opponent shooting percentage. Red Auerbach remains as general manager, but never replicates the ruthless roster turnover that kept the dynasty alive. The Celtics do not reach another finals until 1974. The 24-second clock lifts scoring to 93.1 points and sets the conditions for Russell's rookie year. From 1980 to 1988, the Los Angeles Lakers claim 5 championships and reach the finals 9 times. They run a breakneck offense under head coach Pat Riley, anchored by 6'9" point guard Magic Johnson and 7'2" center Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. During the 1986-87 title run, they average 117.8 points per game and win 65 regular season contests. Riley coins the term Showtime, and the Lakers become the league's most televised team. But that high-speed machine begins to splinter by the decade's end. Kareem retires in 1989 at age 42, the league's all-time leading scorer with 38,387 points. Riley departs in 1990 after contract tensions with owner Jerry Buss, leaving assistant Randy Funn to inherit a fading core. In November 1991, Magic announces he's tested positive for HIV and retires immediately. He's 32, a 3-time MVP, and still averaging 19.4 points and 12.5 assists. That season ends with the Lakers swept by Chicago in the finals, their transition defense shredded by a younger, hungrier team. The dynasty ends not with one cause, but several, all landing within a 3-year window. The 1991 finals mark a symbolic handoff, and the Bulls' rise begins where the Lakers' run dies. The Detroit Pistons win back-to-back titles in 1989 and 1990 by leaning into physicality, depth, and discipline. Head coach Chuck Daly runs a tight rotation led by Isiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, and Bill Laimbeer. In those two championship seasons, Detroit finishes first and third in defensive rating, holding playoff opponents to under 96 points per game. Their peak comes in the 1990 finals, where they beat Portland in 5 games, and Isiah averages 27.6 points and 7 assists. But the following year, the cracks start to show. In 1991, the Bulls sweep the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, ending the rivalry and signaling a regime change. Chicago's triangle offense pulls Detroit's defenders out of the paint, exposing aging legs and thin shooting depth. That same summer, Rick Mahern is long gone, Laimbeer turns 34, and Daly steps away after 9 seasons. Dennis Rodman is traded to San Antonio in 1993 after clashing with management. Isiah Thomas, dealing with the chronic wrist injury, retires in 1994 with over 9,000 assists and no remaining teammates from the title runs. The franchise doesn't win a single playoff series for the next 7 seasons. From 1991 to 1998, the Chicago Bulls win 6 championships in 8 seasons, posting a 203-43 regular season record during their second three-peat alone. Michael Jordan leads the league in scoring every year, Phil Jackson manages egos and rotations, and Scottie Pippen logs more minutes than any other Bull. But behind the scenes, general manager Jerry Cross grows resentful of the attention paid to his stars. He publicly declares the team will not be rebuilt, only torn down. Even as the Bulls chase a 6th ring in 1998, Jackson is told outright, "You could go 82-0 and you're still gone." After securing their 6th title against Utah, Jordan retires for a second time in January 1999. Pippen is traded to Houston in a sign-and-trade deal. Dennis Rodman is waived days later. Phil Jackson steps away, and Chicago enters a lockout-shortened season with virtually no pieces remaining. The Bulls finish 13-37, the worst mark in franchise history to that point. The title window slams shut not because of age or injury, but because management actively ends it. The next closest thing to a dynasty, in both timeline and dominance, forms 5 years later in Los Angeles. From 2000 to 2002, the Los Angeles Lakers win 3 straight championships, the first true NBA three-peat since Jordan's Bulls. Shaquille O'Neal, listed at 7'1" and 325 pounds, dominates the paint, averaging 28.5 points and 12.3 rebounds across those title runs. Kobe Bryant, 21 when the streak begins, grows from a high-volume scorer into a complete perimeter threat, posting 25.2 points per game by the 2001 playoffs. But friction between the two stars escalates behind the scenes, fueled by divergent personalities, locker room politics, and battles for alpha status. Head coach Phil Jackson manages the tension for a time, but notes in his 2004 book that coaching Kobe is like trying to tame a wild colt. After a finals loss to Detroit in 2004, ownership chooses youth over legacy. Kobe signs a $136 million extension. O'Neal is traded to Miami for Lamar Odom, Caron Butler, and Brian Grant. Jackson steps away from coaching temporarily, and the May 2004 Lakers fall to 34-48, missing the playoffs entirely. Shaq helps Miami win the title the following year. Meanwhile, La enters a transition period with an uncertain identity. Phil returns in 2005, but the damage to the dynasty is permanent. In 2002, the Sacramento Kings finished the regular season 61-21, best in the league. Their offense leads all teams in assists and three-point percentage, powered by Chris Webber's 24.5 points and 10.1 rebounds. The Western Conference Finals pit them against the defending champion Lakers, and after 5 games, Sacramento holds a 3-2 lead. Game 6 becomes infamous. Los Angeles attempts 27 free throws in the fourth quarter alone, while Sacramento is whistled for 5 fouls in the final 2 minutes. The Lakers win 106-102 and take the series in 7. The following season, Webber tears his meniscus and cartilage in May 2003. He's never the same player. Peja Stojakovic's scoring drops from 24.2 to 20.1 points by 2006, and Mike Bibby's shooting percentage declines for 3 straight years. Head coach Rick Edelman is dismissed in 2006, despite 8 consecutive playoff appearances. From that point on, the Kings missed the postseason for 16 straight years, the longest drought in NBA history until 2023. They never returned to the second round until the De'Aaron Fox era. The 2002 Game 6 scandal prompts widespread criticism, including from former officials, and fuels ongoing suspicions of league favoritism. Sacramento's window closes fast, leaving a cautionary tale of injury, attrition, and questionable officiating. The next collapse starts with a pair of aging guards and one quiet superstar. Between 1999 and 2014, the San Antonio Spurs win 5 championships across 3 decades, anchored by Tim Duncan's consistent two-way presence. Under Greg Popovich, their system evolves from twin towers to corner 3 barrages, yet remains ruthlessly efficient. They average 56 wins per season over 18 years, never missing the playoffs. In 2014, they clinched their final title with the 4-1 dismantling of the Heat, recording the largest finals point differential in history at 70. Duncan, at age 38, still averages 15 points and 10 rebounds. By 2017, the post-Duncan era hinges on Kawhi Leonard, a 25-year-old MVP candidate averaging 25.5 points per game. But in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, Zaza Pachulia slides under Kawhi's foot on a jumper, causing an ankle sprain that ends his postseason. The Spurs, up 23 at the time, collapse without him, eventually swept by Golden State. Leonard returns in 2018, but plays just 9 games amid medical disputes with team staff. He demands a trade that summer, breaking the trust between franchise and future. Tony Parker signs with Charlotte in 2018, and Manu Ginobili retires weeks later, leaving Popovich without his longtime core. The Spurs still post winning records, but exit early in the playoffs or miss them entirely. Without Kawhi, and with no comparable star to replace him, San Antonio ends a 22-year postseason streak. Popovich continues coaching, but the Spurs never regain their championship ceiling. The fall begins with one injured ankle, and ends with the vacant throne. In 2007, the Golden State Warriors become the first 8 seed to upset a 1 seed in a 7-game series. Led by Baron Davis and coached by Don Nelson, they take down Dirk Nowitzki's 67-win Mavericks in 6 games, shocking a league where top seeds win 94% of first-round matchups. Golden State leads the series in pace, steals, and 3-point attempts, an unorthodox profile that earns them the "We Believe" label. Attendance spikes, jerseys sell out, and the league leans into the chaos of underdog volatility. But just 1 year later, the core unravels completely. Jason Richardson, the team's leading scorer for straight seasons, is traded on draft night for rookie Brandon Wright. Baron Davis walks to the Clippers in free agency, and Monta Ellis, coming off a 22-point season, tears ankle ligaments in a prohibited mopped accident that costs him 30 games and $3 million in fines. The front office fires Nelson in 2010, rehires him, then parts ways again after an ownership change. Between 2008 and 2013, the Warriors go through 5 head coaches and never win more than 36 games in a season. The roster churns through journeymen, and the team finishes dead last in defensive rating for 2 straight years. They briefly lead the league in jersey sales despite ranking 27th in wins. The collapse is so complete that even the name, "We Believe," becomes a punchline. Golden State won't return to the playoffs for 6 years, and it takes a complete organizational reboot, new ownership, new GM, new coach to rebuild the dynasty that begins with Curry's rise. From 2011 to 2014, The Miami Heat appear in 4 consecutive NBA Finals, winning titles in 2012 and 2013. LeBron James, joining Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh in the summer of 2010, averages 26.9 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 6.7 assists across those 4 seasons. The team peaks in 2013, winning 66 games, and surviving a 7-game finals against the Spurs, thanks to Ray Allen's iconic corner 3. But the roster is aging fast. Mike Miller battles back issues. Shane Battier retires after the 2014 finals, and Wade's knee problems limit him to just 54 games that season. The collapse comes swiftly after Miami is dismantled by San Antonio in 5 games in the 2014 finals. LeBron announces his return to Cleveland that July, citing unfinished business and a desire to go home. Wade, at just 32, is already playing on reduced minutes, and Bosh is sidelined the following season by recurring blood clots that eventually end his career. The Heat tumble to a 37-45 record in 2015, missing the playoffs for the first time in 7 years. Team president Pat Riley, blindsided by LeBron's exit, sums up the mood with one phrase: "No more smiling faces." The next dynasty collapse begins with a blown lead, a Game 5 ejection, and a seismic free agent decision. From 2011 to 2017, the Clippers average over 54 wins per season, 6 straight years of dominance, record-breaking dunks, and playoff expectations. Chris Paul, the 9-time All-Star point guard, engineers the league's most efficient pick and roll with Blake Griffin, while DeAndre Jordan leads the NBA in field goal percentage twice. The team tops the league in offensive rating in 2014 and ranks top 10 in defensive efficiency 3 years in a row. But despite the regular season consistency, they never advance beyond the second round. Their most infamous failure comes in 2015, up 3-1 on Houston in the West semis. They lose Game 6 at home, despite a 19-point second-half lead. The meltdown isn't isolated. In 2014, team owner Donald Sterling is banned for life after racist recordings surface, forcing the NBA to strip and sell the franchise. Though new owner Steve Ballmer brings fresh energy, the trust inside the roster fractures. Griffin suffers repeated injuries, Paul feuds with teammates, and by 2017, the trio that defines Lob City dissolves. Paul to Houston, Jordan to Dallas, and Griffin traded mid-season to Detroit. Across 6 playoff runs, the Clippers fail to reach even a single conference finals, despite peaking at second in net rating league-wide in 2014. Their implosion opens space for the next Western powerhouse, anchored by a 6'3" shooter in the Bay.
If you made it this far, you're one of the real ones. At B-Ball Decoded, we don't sugarcoat the past. We break it down, team by team, draft by draft, mistake by mistake. If you love deep NBA stories, critical breakdowns, and raw basketball truth, hit that like button, subscribe for more team deep dives, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.